Hello and welcome to the Love, Peace, Truth, Karma podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Brown, and today I've got the amazing Martine Belinda. And Martine is just an absolute sea of knowledge and wisdom about the world and the energy we possess. She is an energy intuitive expert, and she is helping people in her retreat navigate how they can access their own energies through nature and our connection to it. So this is definitely one not to miss. Enjoy the podcast today.
If you're in China, you just know it's corrupt. They want it to be like that here.
People are pretending to be 12-year-old kids, mate, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're 40-year-old men.
Now we're getting bombarded with all these death numbers, but there's no context there.
He'd got one child pregnant, he'd raped many others, and we had evidence to prove that.
Do you think evil still exists today as it did back then? And the answer should very simply be yes.
Thank you so much for joining me, Martine.
You're welcome, Leanne.
The lovely Martine. We always have so much to talk about. Well, you talk, I listen. Like I keep saying, you are literally the oracle from The Matrix, which I keep saying I've got to watch again to absorb and watch it as a documentary with all the things that I'm discovering. Like I'm just literally scratching the surface compared to your such a deep knowledge of the world and the blueprint of people, and I know you very heavily work through the energy and how you navigate that. But firstly, let's just discover who is Martine and how you come on this journey. Like, was it something that you, as a child, that you just knew that you was something wasn't right about the world, or there was more to it? How did you embark on your journey initially?
Ooh. Okay, yes, it is really that. I mean, I was a child that knew, and I can only identify that kind of even more so now, but I identified that about 25 years ago, that I already knew things. I don't know why I knew them, and I was kind of a freaky child to my mother. I scared my mother, really, because I would know things. I could tell when she was lying, literally, because she was, she passed away now, not being any horrible, but she was a compulsive liar. And so when you brought around that situation, my energy just didn't fit right. And my dad used to say, I would say things that I could never possibly know, because she was also an atheist. And so she didn't believe in anything. But I had this innate, inbuilt will that no matter what she said, I could tell she was lying.
Wow.
And sometimes it would be trivial things, and sometimes it would be serious things. And so I kind of just had built this self-built mechanism within myself as a protection, really, because it didn't feel right for me to do the things that she wanted me to do, or say the things that she wanted me to say, or just do those things, and
take on that belief system.
On that belief system of what what she was kind of doing. But that was not to say that she was a horrible person. It was just her beliefs, and that's how she was brought up, and she had things that she was dealing with from her childhood. But I was adopted, so basically, I kind of think, well, I was put in an environment that wasn't my bloodline lineage, but I always felt I was protected on an ancestral level.
Yeah.
And so, but I didn't realise what that was, like that's about 25 years ago, because I was in situations where technically, the things that I saw as a child weren't the things that you should see, sort of thing. But ancestrally, I was kind of protected, so I didn't go through the natural progressions that other children may have gone through, like on an abuse side of it in those kind of respects. So,
did you ever find out your
I did.
parents?
I did. I found my natural mother and I met my natural mother. And I'm actually a Ghanaian princess, believe it or not.
Oh!
So I am actually from half Ghanaian, and my father was one of the chiefs in Ghana, and from the Ashanti village from the Gold Coast. So I've never actually been there, actually, but it's somewhere that I probably wouldn't like to go before I leave this planet. So... But yeah, so kind of that was something, because from 0 to 7, your subconscious mind starts to really create its own building blocks, really, for what you see as a child, how you identify with what you see, and then how your kind of energy starts to transform to then propel you into your existence, your experiences, which is, like I said, now I kind of realise, wow, that's what was going on, but you don't see that or realise that as a child.
Yeah.
And so as I got older and older and older, even at school, then going to school, there was things, I was bullied at school for the colour. So it was all these experiences that I was having.
Were you a minority of?
Yeah, there was only me in the class
Yeah.
that was of a different colour, let's say, or a different tone. I like to use the word tone now because what is colour,
Yeah.
really? We'll get another topic, but we won't go into that right now.
Perception,
Yeah, but it was just a different shade of a being.
Yeah.
And so, but at the time, that was, back in my day, there was lots of TV programs that were banned, but were banned now. But at the time, they were allowed to exist. And so, as you're growing up in that environment and you're the only one, it becomes like what we now know as being bullied at school because of whether you wear glasses or whether you've got buck teeth or whether you've got a colour, whatever. If you're a minority in that situation, you become bullied, and you become isolated. So my soul is kind of that isolated soul, but it's also a spiritual soul, so you can delve into the places that most people can't really ever entertain because they'd lose their breath. So I used to delve into myself quite a lot because there was only me. But the funny thing is, out of all that stuff that was being drummed into me as a child or as a teenager and at school, I never believed what they said.
No.
It was funny. And as the work that I do now, people believe what people tell them, but I didn't do that. So that's why I know I was kind of protected on an ancestral level. And my life path is clairsentient. So I do see future things, but I'm not somebody who is a medium. I don't look at spiritual or people who have passed over. That's not my thing. But I can tap into higher dimensions as what I've learned and experienced and now developed even further as I've moved on. But basically it just stems from that a will that I had that couldn't be broken within my own self despite all the different circumstances and experiences that I went through.
Do you think everyone's got the ability, them abilities or different abilities to tap into, like the psychic ability or, whatever? Do you think everyone's got a different skill, or do you think everyone's got the ability to, like, for instance, I was just watching the new Gaia series, and it's called Superhuman, and these kids have got blindfolds on and they're reading a book through the third eye and they're shifting like matter, they're actually moving objects, obviously being exposed to that and brought into the world with their mind completely open. Do you believe we all have the ability to do that, or do you believe that there is different levels of beings, I suppose, of capacity of our skill?
Yeah, I do think everybody has the power to do something within their own vibration.
Yeah.
Can everybody reach that where we are right now? No, I don't think so.
If they were a child and I suppose exposed to
children, I think a child can, as a child, you can be, if you're exposed to certain things, then that's your power button to switch right on, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
And I think all children have that ability. But does everybody come here to experience that? That's the difference, you see.
Yes.
So I'm looking at what are we coming here to experience, because what happens is supposing that you get all the children and 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of those children can't do that. And they're being told that they should be able to do that. So But it may not be their experience to experience it. So we've also got to look at, I think everybody is capable of doing everything, but in the right time. And that right time might not be right now on this journey. But we know from science that we are basically spiritual beings having an experience in this physical body.
Yeah.
And so, may not do it this time, but next time you can experience this. But depending on what your choices are in the experience of the life that you're having right now will determine maybe the experience that you have in another body. So there's that can go really deep into that, really. But I do believe everyone has the ability, because everyone has come from the same source.
Yeah.
Which, if you look around us, what we can see and what we're experiencing, that is some power. And if we're part of that power, then of course we do have that ability. But we need to not put pressure on us as individuals, because we've got to look at what have you come here to experience in this moment. Because it might not be for you to experience that right now for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about on the way here, isn't it? Like having the people that have come here have chosen to be here on the journey that they are, or the people that have decided to take this jab and have gone down that route, and that's their path. And I've found it quite difficult. Obviously, I've been outspoken and I've spoke about it previously on different podcasts about how it's so frustrating how people just can't see it. And I've had various guests on here speaking about the same thing. But yeah, it's like that detachment. I've got to the point now. I've been able to detach. I'm starting to detach from it a little bit. Still wanting to obviously talk about it, expose it, the likes of this. But one of the reasons why I want to do the podcast is to also bring to light that, you know, to show people how they can navigate their energy. The ones that are more conscious or more aware of what's going on and know that there's a higher purpose and there's something more than just like coming on this planet and eat, sleep, work, repeat, you know. And that's exactly what you're doing, is it, with your retreats. And just for people, obviously initially when I met you, we've talked about the blueprint, and that's what you do as well, working on the people's coding, and how to navigate your own coding to open up to the energy that you possess, I suppose, on that timeline. So just for people that don't understand or don't have a clue what blueprint is, tell us what it is.
Yeah, so the blueprint is everything has a blueprint. Nature has a blueprint, everything has a blueprint. A building will have a blueprint. And it's a set of, in buildings, it's a document where you get an architect who will design that, but who will design that based on numbers, on lengths, widths and things like that, and dimensions. And so the numbers are what vibrates. And so I work with numbers as in on a sacred geometry level. So it's basically, you can have a number, and I only work with 9 vibrations, which is 9 numbers, which are the codes, or let's say the vibrational frequency of the universe, let's say, because right in the core of the universe, it's been tested to, the frequency in there is 432 hertz, which is the music of the spheres.
That's right.
And that's where all form and creation comes from. And that 432 comes to the number 9. If you add it up, 4 and 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9.
Yeah.
So in 9, you've got every single number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you've got your 9. So in 8, you're going to miss the 9 out. In 7, you'll miss 8 and 9. In 6, you'll miss 7, 8, 9. So the 9 is where it has everything in it, every single vibration.
Yeah.
Every single code goes in that 9. So the blueprint, I work with those nine vibrations based on someone's date of birth. So, and this is where it can be kind of, it's a bit like numerology or it's a bit astrology. It's neither. The only bit of numerology is the fact that you can crunch the numbers down to a single digit. And astrology is basically where you have your personal influence, like a moon would influence the certain emotions on people. And I have that kind of thing in the actual blueprint. So what I do is I don't need to know anything about a person. Whereas in astrology, they need to know the time, your location, plus your date of birth. And there's quite a few things that's required. Whereas I just need to know what day, month and year you were born on.
Yeah.
I don't need to know who, with. I don't need to know where you were born. I don't need to know the exact time you were born, anything like that. Because I'm merely looking at the science behind your codes, because it creates 9. Those three numbers create another 6 numbers for me, which gives me a 9 codes placed on, different areas: your purpose, your life path, your lesson in life, your soul, your spirit, the way you do things, your kind of personality, your social consciousness, your global consciousness. And so all those give me these codes to you. But in each one of those codes, you've got probably 1 million, if not more, frequencies. So it's like a radio station. You can have a device, which is a radio. And in your radio, you can tune into different stations. They're the different frequencies. Mm-hmm. So if you look at us as a person or a being, we look at ourselves as the radio device. But inside us now, we've got our own frequencies that we tune in and out of. So you tune into the wrong frequency will give you the worst experience. tune into the right frequency, it will give you the best experience.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes down to choice. So when I look at the blueprint of somebody, I'm looking at what choices is that person making that's taking them out of kilter with themselves. And many of us are using mums, dads, granddads, teachers, somebody else's belief system, which is altering that person's blueprint because they're not really knowing what the blueprint is. Because even your mother, our own mothers don't even know a particular part of our energy that can only be seen from the child's perspective and the parent's observation. But if you don't know that your child is trying to show you their purpose between 0 and say like 3 and 7, they start to develop that, sometimes 2. And you go, oh, I want my child to be a footballer, I want my child to be a dancer. And that child's come here to be a scientist or, you know, a doctor or an engineer in some form or whatever, or a spiritual person, or and you're missing that. That will get put in Pandora's box, and that child will grow up searching for something that they know that is in there, but they can't find it because it's been taken away. Not purposefully, by the way, because parents don't do it on a purpose. Because the parent doesn't have the child's blueprint until now. They can have it. So, you know, and that's the thing.
Definitely, like, there's so many people that actually, they do take on their parents' beliefs and actually do things just to please their parents. And we actually went for a meal last night, and the waiter there was chatting to us about how he'd been to university, he'd got a degree, he made his parents happy, he went and studied law, and but he said it wasn't a nice. He was Italian actually, and he was saying it wasn't a nice environment, and he's managing a restaurant now, and he said, but I made my family happy. I studied law and I made my family happy, but that. You know, it's just a piece of paper. And this is what I say to my children, especially at the moment with regards to the whole education system or indoctrination system. Lilia's in the secondary, and it worries me that obviously all the mandatory things that potentially going to come in with the jabs and all that, which will be out of there like a shot. But Lilia is so set on, well, what about my GCSEs? Well, I said, it's just a letter that comes against a piece of paper. It doesn't actually mean anything. If you think about, like, I don't ever use my GCSEs for anything. I said, if you're interested in something and you have a passion for something, then you're going to seek out the learning that you need, the knowledge that you need to acquire to actually fulfill that path. But going to university and getting a piece of paper that says you've got a degree doesn't necessarily, it's just being in that system, isn't it? It's just a piece of paper at the end of the day, and the majority of people that do go through that educational system and get their degrees, and then they usually use it for what they've studied anyways, which is, and spend a whole load of money doing that, don't they? But yeah, it's just, I've lost my train of thought now. What was I saying about
about your purpose of people?
So the blueprint, I was just going to say, you've done my blueprint, and you've actually done everybody's blueprint in my family. And I was blown away how literally bang on everything was, you know, like the personality traits and everything, and even other people that we did like that were friends of mine or not friends of mine. And, you know, it's just so apparent. There's definitely so much truth in it.
Yeah, it's because it's a vibration, and that's why when it comes to doing energy, I've developed the energy intuition now, because just looking at the codes now, I've gone deeper into that, because people can be born on the same day, month and year, like twins, but they're still different. They've still got their own identity. And that's because when we were talking about before about, you know, can everybody do this? Like the children in India who are doing the third eye work. Can everybody do that? Yeah, everybody can do it, but have they come here to do that? And so when we're looking at the twins, for instance, they have got the exact same blueprint, but they'll be different. They don't marry the exact same partner. They have different things. They don't buy the exact same house. They've got different experiences that they've come in to experience. And that's why I think it's definitely down to the experience that we're having We're part of one huge thing, having different experiences on different timelines. So we can experience those things, but it depends how evolved we become on this journey that we're here in right now. And because we've reached 2020, which we're really starting from 2012 when we had this huge shift from the Mayan calendar,
That's
and we
right.
had that huge shift, which gave people the ability to start to now become more aware, more open to the reality and of the fictional world. And so as it's now that's evolved and we've moved forward, and some people who have already kind of had an inkling but not really known, and more exposure has come through, and you've had the ability to go and research, go and have a look for yourself, you can then come to this place where we're in 2020, where the activations have come in for the 2020 vision.
Yeah.
And so the 2020 vision is giving more people now that exposure, thinking, oh, why can I see this? Which is why we've got this energy coming through that's trying to stop that. Because you get your 2020 vision and you start to master that and be able to really come into your own sovereignty and know that you don't actually need anybody to control you or be the master of you but yourself. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So the energy that was trying to not allow that to happen will lose power if the majority start to develop that power. So we're in this kind of what they call this World War III energy, which is now this struggle of power, not wanting people to develop those things, because it's not that you can just develop them because you want to. You will develop them because that's what's required for the next phase of this polar shift that we're going through. That next phase is bringing it in people to, like these children, third eye children, it's there. But there's things that can prevent that. The decalcifying of the third eye with the certain products and all that sort of stuff, and the environmental toxins, the foods that we're eating, which is why I'm saying I look into nature to see what's going on in nature so that we can start to now re-engage with that and remember what really we came here for.
Yeah.
Is our purpose to be a millionaire? Is our purpose to drive a flash car? No. That's all fictional world. It's made you believe that you need to earn money to have those things.
Yeah.
And you don't. We are not here to do that. And that might be a bit of a downer for some people because they're used to wanting that kind of lifestyle and associating that lifestyle as a luxury.
Yeah.
Whereas while you're having that luxury, the world is crumbling around you.
Yeah.
And where will your luxury be then? Because if we don't sustain this Mother Earth planet and give back what has been taken away, there will be no luxury for anybody, full stop. So your purpose isn't what you think your purpose is. Your true self isn't what you think your true self is. And it's a journey to get to that space so that you can discover, well, what really is my purpose? And everybody who is here right now, who has come here now on this journey, who are on an awareness trip, who are looking at, well, there is something more, that journey is to prepare ourselves for these phases that are coming through so we can start to rebuild the planet for our children and our children's children and children's children and children, and really live in a society where you don't have to have money. It's energy. Yeah. It's your energy that will be used, which is 100%. What is supposed to be used from the beginning. Only we've had that energy taken away from us. Yeah. I watched something with, this was a few years ago, with this guy, that David Icke guy, and he was saying that
What's your perception of him?
No, I don't think I have. But I was just going back years ago because he was in the same age bracket as me, and we were told you can't speak about that because people would just want to take you away, Because it was so.
You've known about all this situation for years, about preempting it's going to happen and everything.
Yeah, known about it for over at least 25. When the first kind of the light bulb came on was about 28 years ago. And I thought, what the heck is all this about? And then I just delved into it. But David Icke, remember him saying that he took his son to watch this film, and it was called Monsters, Inc. And basically, because this is the fact that we have to be shown what's going on, and they show you through animation and things like that. And he watched the film, and basically it was these monsters that were frightening the children and putting fear in the children. And what they did, as they put the fear in the children, these monsters come and put it in the tube and took it away to feed these entities, which is basically what's happening with us as people, what they've done is they've put the fear in people
Yeah.
because that's how they survive. So when we start to go, actually, this is this isn't real, it's a fictitious thing. So we now don't need to have that fear.
Yeah.
So we then start to go into the love vibration because they cannot exist in this love vibration and start to raise our vibration. You have to know that they will disappear because they can't
And
exist.
they know it as well.
Yeah, they can't exist. So they need the food. They need you in fear state to take that food from you.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're not in that fear state and know that really we don't really die in the way that we think we die. And so therefore you can do what you want because I'm back.
Yeah.
Next episode, I'll be back,
Yeah.
you know, in a different character and a different experience. And that's how, when you get to that space, you just lose your fear.
Yeah.
You think, well, that's okay. I'm going to enjoy the trip I'm on now, the journey I'm on now, better myself all the way through that, identify with my true self for where I am right now, take back the layers, remove all this kind of energy that's been, I've been clothed with to say that you are this when you know that you're not this. And therefore your energy starts to be depressed, stressed, you know, just living in a space of never feeling that you're worthy. The self-worth of people really disappeared because someone else had taken over your true identity. And so when you've got rid of all that, which is a journey in itself, which is what I do with the retreat and with the blueprint and my energy intuition, when we get rid of all that, you then start to become who you truly are for where you are right now. And then you start to move through. And that's when this energy starts to shift. And when the energy starts to shift, as these polar shifts are moving around, this north and south pole are moving, we go on to the energy which is pushing it rather than pulling it back. We go into the push energy and help Mother Earth transform to this golden age that we're all moving towards, which will be amazing.
Yeah. It's so true. The perception that has been ingrained and conditioned into children from as soon as they're born and they're put into the education system and then they're given their power over to authority. So then when they leave, they've automatically, it's the government, isn't it? The next authority figure. And the obviously with social media and all this, the materialistic world and I've obviously been in that and been so sucked up into that materialistic world, and it's been a huge journey for me actually really stepping back. I've got rid of like most of my wardrobe, you know. It's unnecessary. It doesn't mean anything, and at the end of the day it's just you take you and your own well-being and inner peace is all that really counts, isn't it? And like we talk about money and the monetary system, I had Dean on, and he's obviously trying to create a community or looking at land and how we can actually facilitate that as a group, creating a group of people. And I've spoke to you briefly about it. There is actually groups all around the country, probably all around the world, that are actually doing this now, aren't there? But for the children, I mean, I feel like gutted that I've even given my kids a phone, you know, now knowing what I know, but then actually now to rip it away from them, and it's like a process. And I still know that I have like tapped into my phone too much, and since my account got disabled, I have retracted from doing a lot on it because it made me think, actually, who am I? Like, I'm not that persona on social media, Mrs. Leanne Brown. I'm a sovereign being, and it's I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get any work, I'm not going to get anyone, but it's me that people are buying into, not that profile. And that was a big awakening for me. But it's just part of what we're saying about just being sucked into that, the matrix. That's why you're such full of wisdom, and you give people the information, but it's what you do with it. And we've had so many conversations, haven't we? And I talk to you and you're like, well, listen to the way you're saying things.
Because that's it. Because I listen to the words, but only to track them. I track words. And then when I track the words, I know where the energy is coming from. And that's when you become an energy intuitive, because people will talk and they're not even realising what they're saying. So I'll just listen. And that's the key. And when we start to listen to ourselves more often, because we tend to not listen to what we're saying half the time. And someone will say, you just said that. You say, no, I didn't. And you can venomously really say, I did not say that. But if you had a tape recorder, you will find that you did say that. But the subconscious mind is throwing you under the bus all the time. Because it's the subconscious mind that speaks rather than the conscious mind, because most people aren't conscious. Most people are in subconscious state. because that's 95% of who we are. So you've got to rewrite your subconscious mind so that when you are conscious, the both of them are in harmony.
Yeah.
So that then you start to really truly come into your own energy and your vibrations and start to manifest your world, that you want. And I think where we are right now, for me, which is what I'm doing, advocating, is the sovereignty, is the sustainable living, is getting people to know that you can do everything by yourself. You can do it. You do not need any human, nobody, to run your life. You can do that all by yourself. And that's what I'm teaching in the retreat, is to get people to do that, to just, take that fear away, that what's going to happen if you make that choice and it might be the wrong one. What will happen?
Yeah, nothing.
Whereas at the moment people think, well, if I make that choice, but that's this fear. And yes, it will happen, because that's the energy that you're sending through on that frequency. So I teach that, and then to get to that space where you become detached from this glorified world that is only there to suck the energy out of you.
Correct.
That's what it's there for. And you just need to replenish that, keep your energy for yourself, work on yourself, work on your own self, because when you work on yourself, you then start to help other people energetically without even touching them or speaking with them.
Yeah.
It's like a domino effect. And that's why I think people say, well, I need to help, this person needs to help me. We don't really need to help people. I mean, people in the retreat say I help, I don't really. I'm just providing you with the information. I'm making you do all the work.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't take anything from me. I don't ever feel depleted from them, because you're not taking my energy, and I'm certainly not taking yours. So we just need you to get involved with your own energy and figure it out. And I help them do that. And I think that's when you really need to be, is to, it's what they're saying now with this new sun. The sun that we've entered is the feminine energy, and it is the grandmothers.
Yeah.
It's the grandmothers that are here to embark this wisdom and energy on, and take them back to doing things. Because in my day, I could sew, I could cook, I could clean, I could do all the things. I could change a wheel on a car. I could do the things that the guys did. I could do everything myself.
Yeah.
We were brought up to do things ourselves. Would you tell some children now to go and make a sandwich? It's like, my gosh.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so the grandmothers are here to say, it's us now. We'll take over from here.
I can't even sew.
To see, yeah?
Yeah, I did do a little bit of textile at school, but they took all that away. They don't really do that anymore.
And now it's like, so you'll see the face. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'll just go and buy a new one, because you can buy a new one for £3 from Primark or whatever. You know what I mean? And everything's replaced, and they're forgetting that by doing that, you're not going anywhere. You're not actually
even things
going anywhere.
like being a mechanic and things like that at school, that it's not really talked about in like school leavers, as a career, is it? Things that are really practical, that are life skills that people need.
The life skills.
Like even like changing a plug and wiring electrics, or things like that. It's really important. Just going back to the golden age, what you were saying before, and you describe it really well when you were telling me about how you think that the Mother Earth has got all these phases, and the phase that she's in now. Just tell us a bit about that. Yeah,
well, I worked with the Mayan calendar, and there was some...
What's the Mayan calendar, just for people?
The Mayan calendar is basically, it's a cyclical event. So every 5,200 years, energy changes. And we had this Mayan calendar that changed, and 5,000 years approached in 2012. It was a little bit before that, to be honest, but the 2012 is what they're saying. It's about 2011, if the truth be known. And it's basically looking at the cycles of events right back to the billions of years ago when the world started. And the Mayans carry this knowledge with them. And it's not actually in books, because some of it was, but it got everything in the books, and from the tablets has been destroyed and rewritten to create the world that we're in. But the Mayans carried it within their minds and passed it down from generation to generation to generation. And that's one thing that could never be destroyed. Yeah. And so they knew they could track the cycles. They could track by listening to the wind. They could track the cycle of the sun when it approached at a certain time. They could track when the earth or the plants were going to have a good yield. So they knew all that because they were in touch with Mother Nature. And so I kind of got in, listening to that, I'm thinking that sounds something that I would like to know. And I did a good few years, became a hermit, a nutty professor. And because it was aligned with sacred geometry as well, and it was how certain codes, when you, like the way they construct the pyramids and things like that, you can lift stones, heavy stones, just by aligning something with its own vibration. And so I found that really interesting. And so when I tracked it and I got through a certain level, I had this weird kind of euphoric moment of like, I know the secret to the world, of the planet and everything. It was like one of the most mind-blowing things, but I could not articulate it. I just knew I knew it.
Yeah.
And I started to track it, and I was like, I could see my hands going with all these numbers. And then it came to the point where we are right now, and I know she's in 8th phase. And basically back from the billions of years ago and the time where time isn't what we think it is. Mm-hmm. And the Gregorian calendar was another thing that took us out of our vibration. So we're in a Gregorian calendar, which is, the 31 days in the month, or 30 days, 28 in February, but 29 on a leap year. All that is not really truth.
Yeah.
And that's to take you out of sync with yourself. With the Mayan, they do a completely different calendar. They work with nature. They work the calendar from nature, which is where you start to go into your own natural biorhythm, and you start to be in that biorhythm with Mother Nature. So you're working with her, not against her. So we're out of sync by working with the Gregorian calendar. That's one of the things. The music is another thing that took us out.
The 4, 3,
so
2.
So when we get to this energy now where she is, and I just worked it out, and it's not just me working it out, it was verified with the other Mayan experts, is that she's in 8th phase. The 8th phase to me is the pregnancy, because there's going to be 9 phases, and this is where the power of 9 comes in. So there's still going to be these 9 phases. So from day dot, we had the first month, which lasted something like 2 billion years, and now we're speeding up. We're speeding up, and she's in this 8th phase, which when, as a woman, which is why we're coming to the feminine age, is that we know the 8th phase of pregnancy is where we're going to give birth to our baby soon. And we want everybody out of the way that's not good. We want everything out of the way. We don't want anybody coming around who's smoking around our baby, our newborn baby, who's going to swear around our new baby. We don't want any of that. Absolutely not. No. So we prepare as individuals. So Mother Earth is saying the same thing. She doesn't want anybody, when she's going to give birth, she's going to give birth to this beautiful world. Yeah. And she doesn't want anybody who's going to be corrupt, anybody who's going to want to violate it, anyone who's going to harm it. Yeah. So this is where we are now. We're in this 8th phase of this exposure of the people who are corrupt, the people who are not going to be wanting to take, this brand new baby and nurture it and care for it with your life. They're not going to be the people that are going to want to do that. So she's got to give us the opportunity from the energy and this technology that we've been given to now, like the internet was, internet, we can do a lot of things with this internet, but it backfired, because if you can do a lot of things with the internet to take our power away, Mother Earth knows she can just do the exact same thing and take their power away by exposing what you're doing, because now everybody can see, if they want to, or if they choose to, or if they're able to, what is actually being exposed. But what I have to just say is that exposure, Mother Nature's not saying expose it and fight it. She's saying expose it, see what it is, and move away from it. Yes. And therefore, when you move away from that energy, she will then be able to go into labour, which I've worked out will be around about July the 7th in 2023. Wow. When she goes into labour.
So, and then God help us kind of thing.
Well, now.
I wonder if she's a screamer.
Well, this is the thing. The screamer.
Or a hypnobirther.
Yeah. But you see, this is where we are given the opportunity to allow her to go. We're going to be the midwives.
Right, okay.
So we know if you've got a good midwife, she takes control. You don't become a screamer. That baby's coming through. This is what you do. You breathe. You do this, you do that. And you know that someone's got you. And that's what she wants to know, that we've got her while she gives birth to this new world. But we can't do that while we're holding on to what we're coming away from. Yes. And I know it's hard for people to see all this stuff, this energy, to see it all and go, oh my God, what about this? And this is awful and we need to fight these people. No, we just need to see what's happened and move away from it. And for me, from what my higher dimensional energy is saying is, see the world you want to live in and don't see anything else. no matter what that is, no matter what is being thrown at you, just switch your timeline and go and see the world. And that's when you go in to help Mother Nature give birth to the world. You can't take another energy with you. You can't take the hatred. You can't take the knowing, the knowledge of that's what happened and why did that happen. We can't do that. It's happened. It happened for whatever reason. We have now given opportunity to go into the golden age where none of that exists. And but we have to learn now to just accept what's happened and move into that frequency and those vibrations so she can give birth. If we don't, the labour will be a long labour. It'll be a painful labour for everybody, or it can be a quick labour. I mean, my son, he was born within 3 hours. Very quick, very easy. Done. And my daughter, an hour and 10 minutes. I went into the zone. I knew how to give birth.
Yeah.
And not everybody does.
No. Well, I think intuitively we did until we were told otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's why you get so many problems and everyone's, going with a big phase of epidurals and sections.
Yeah.
It didn't really need to be done because the fear was in and you obstructed your own energy of actually naturally giving birth.
Yeah.
And that's what we can do if we don't let go of what we're seeing.
Yeah.
We've got to go into the raising the vibration, because when we raise the vibration, we go into the breath of Mother Nature and she can give birth properly.
It's all about the perception of what you choose to see, isn't it? And
yeah.
like you say, just being aware of it and then being able to pull back. So we were talking a bit about the history of that, talking about the feminine energy coming through, why it's coming through, and that it's all down to the disembodiment. Is that the right word? Disembodied male.
Yes.
Yeah, the Egyptian gods.
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and why the male energy has been so crazy, and obviously
with the Thales. Yeah. Well, because that
this
goes
is really
back.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, that goes back. I mean, gosh, this is another thing. There's Robert Maxwell. Actually, he explains this really, really well, and I was listening to him again 20 odd years ago, and he talks about the Babylonian times and about the Gnosticism and all that sort of stuff, and he was telling us about the Greek mythology and how we have Isis, Orisis, and Horus.
Yeah.
And basically, Isis and Horus were lovers, but they were also brother and sister apparently. But they were lovers, and this is Greek mythology, so it's not necessarily this is a fictional, a factual thing. It's a fictional energy or entities of things that were around in that time, and so basically they were lovers, but Orisis was jealous, so he then decided to kill Horus, but Isis was already pregnant from Horus at the time. She was pregnant. She didn't realise she was pregnant, but she was. But anyway, so he killed Horus and chopped him up into 13 pieces. And when she went to
number 13 again.
And that's why they use that 13 in these
bad luck.
things. Yeah, but it's not bad luck. But they try to say that it is, because obviously if it's anything that's good, is sold as bad. Anything that's bad is probably, not good. Is good. Anything that's good. No, anything that's bad is probably good. Anything that they say is good is probably bad.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, so when she was fraught with this, because he said, he'd killed her lover, and she went to find him, she found this dismembered body, but only found 12 pieces and never found the Thales, well, it's the penis, never found it. And I remember thinking, you can edit this if you want, but I remember thinking, it's all about a man's didgeridoo.
Yeah.
Really? So we're in this space right now.
so much.
We're in this space right now because of that, which brought in all the pornography, all the kind of sexuality and all this child stuff, because it was all to do with that male energy being dismembered.
Yeah.
Whoa, so I was like, whoa, that cannot be true. It really cannot be true. But in the Greek mythology, that is what, and that's what they used for their kind of satanical acts and things like that, So that's not to be anything to say that if it is true, that would be very sad for ISIS to have that happen. So I'm not saying that story is not true, but what I'm saying is the way that was then taken and distorted to be in the male energy, which is where the fifth sun was, which is where we're coming from, and that's how we have now been put into that energy. So now it was like, and you'll see these thalises in all the Catholic churches in America, where they replace them, because this is the part that was missing. And even the top of the pyramid, the capstone, is supposed to be, that's why it's missing, because until they find that can't be put on. But it's in Mexico, apparently. That's where you can cross the border to Mexico and blah, blah, blah. But anyway.
You were telling me about the Kennedy as well.
And Kennedy, because he was totally found out about all this, didn't do the rituals that was supposed to have been done, but still became the president, and basically then got assassinated and put under the thalis in, I can't remember which country it's in. It's in America, but one of the states in America. I can't remember which one it is now. And so it was like, so
when
there
you say thalis, you mean penis statue?
Yes, yeah. So that's what they're called the thalis is. It's the thalis. It's the shape of a penis.
Yeah.
And basically it represents that missing part of Horus, who was dismembered from his part, and that part was missing. Osiris hid it.
Yeah.
Okay. So until they find it, then that's why we were in this. But we're not going there, are we? We're not having that.
We've had enough now.
We've had enough of it. If you can't find it by now, it's done. Get over it, because we're now moving on. We're fine. We're fine. And we're moving into this what they call the sixth sun, which is all about the feminine. And so the men now have to take a step back, because it's saying it's the feminine energy. So we've had the male energy, and that's fine. We work with that. Didn't really work out very well, because we can see the way things were. But now it's time for the women to step up. And it's not women to step up, which I see women saying, oh, it's women embracing women. And I get that, but not in the way you're saying it is. It's not about women being the cutthroat business women. Absolutely not. Nothing to do with that.
We still
need the men.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've got a grandson. I've got a son I absolutely adore. And I think men are so valuable.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's not your time to rule the world. It's the women's time to do that, because it's now alignment with that energy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And it's about now bringing more of the feminine energy in, which is all about creation. It's all about going back to the womb. It's all about nurturing our men, because they've had a bad time. You know what I mean? It's not the men's fault. It's a few percentage have done that, and so it's not their fault. So I'm not a believer in all women getting together and leaving the men out. That's not where I am.
No.
I think the men are valuable, 100% valuable, and are needed, desperately needed, but the women are going to be the ones with the brains right now. We're going to say, well, this is how we're going to do it. Can you help me with this? Can you use your muscle? Can you do this? Can you dig this land for me to bring Mother Nature out? Can you, so we can plant the seeds back as it was in the indigenous times, which is what the men were doing. The men were ploughing the land. The women were the keepers of the seeds. Yeah. We kept the seeds, and we have the seeds. We've got the seeds in our womb. Men fertilise them. You've got to do the digging, and they do.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. So, and you can see the pattern, how that happens. But this is where we are right now. So now we just need you guys to let us take over here. Let us get this planet back and nurture it and make sure that it goes in the right direction. There's no more war, because we don't want war. There's no more fighting. We're not fighting anybody. We're going to do it. Yeah. And it's the grandmothers. The grandmothers hold the seeds.
Grandmothers.
It is the grandmothers. If you look at it, it's the grandmothers. It's the ancestors.
Yeah.
It's the ancestors that we have to listen to. It's the grandmothers who know, because we are the ones that carry our grandchildren's seeds. So when you got pregnant with your children, those seeds came from your mother. Yeah. And my grandchild is from my seed. And that's how it goes. And you're the seed of your mother's mother. Yeah. And that's how it is. And so we're here now to listen. It's time to listen to the elders. People don't listen to the elders anymore.
No.
But there's the communities now. You've got to get back to listen to your elders, because as much as the new technology is, and you think, you don't know how to do this on WhatsApp, or you know how to do that on Telegram. Well, yes, we do. but this is a different way.
Yeah.
And we'll do it the way that it needs to be done so that it's not going to drain every cell in your body.
Yeah.
We're going to do it so that you're going to have a long life, a loving life, going back to having the most desirable life you could ever have without feeling that you're unworthy, and going into a relationship where you truly adore and love each other, and you help each other. If you've got that, can I have some? Of course you can.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And everybody has something that somebody doesn't have, but then you share it.
Yes.
You share it, and that's where we're going.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't fit in with the material world people, then bye.
Yeah, it's that was saying about the social aspect. It's sort of like everything that's being done is taking away our ability to do things for ourselves, isn't it? In so many different aspects,
Yeah.
and that's what's being done with the kids, and they're just constantly like, even to navigation on your car. And we were just speaking before about you were walking in the woods, and then you were having to stop and like
Listen
to your intuition. And actually seeing you walking made me want to get out. You were walking in the rain, weren't you, yesterday? And I was like, I need to go out in the rain.
Yeah.
And Hallie was having a bit of a moment. She was like, I just want to get out and run. I was like, just come walking with me. And then she was we actually just was walking. I was like, let's just close our eyes and walk, and just see if we can stay on the path. And I was like trying to navigate and out, like into our third eye. And it's things like that. And obviously just being in tune and listening to where we're walking, and, just really bringing it back to your intuition and getting in tune with nature. And that's exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Tell us the story about the plaster you was telling us about on the way here.
Yeah, and well, that's it. So, of course, when I went to North Yorkshire with my daughter a couple of weeks ago to an event with my grandson, and basically there was a young guy there, and again, fantastic, a young guy taking us round into the woods, showing us the plants, what they do. And I was fascinated. I thought, oh gosh, and he showed me this one. It was called the all healing plant. So I thought, all healing plant. Oh wow, let me have a look at that one. And we think about Mother Nature as being green, just the trees and the birds singing, but we don't look at what she's got. What she's got, every single thing that you could ever want in your life is in nature, and it's free. So when I looked at this plant and he was showing us, and I didn't really go touching it or anything at the time. I touched a little bit, and he was squashing it in his hands, what you do with it and everything. I'd done a little video on it. So when I went out in the woods yesterday, and I saw the plants, because it stuck in my mind, that particular one, because I'm thinking, it's called the all healing plant. And so when I started to touch it on my live, the leaf was so soft. I went, oh my gosh, the leaf is so soft. And then not only was it so soft, it was padded.
Yeah, wow.
The leaf was padded. And I'm thinking, and that's what we use for a plaster.
Yeah.
And that's what that's for. So if you cut yourself in nature, you would put that on, and it's got certain minerals in it and antioxidants in it that will send the communication into the codes, into the wound, and heal them.
Of course.
And I thought, but she not only did that, she didn't give us a prickly nettle to do that. She gave us something. What kind of intelligence would know that if you've got pain, something soft is going to mend it and heal it just from the fact that you feel it rather than actually knowing what it's doing. She provided a leaf. It blew my mind. She provided a leaf that was padded.
Yeah.
Padded. And I thought, and soft and smelt like an antiseptic but in a nice antiseptic, not the chemical ones that you can smell. But it just felt so beautiful. And I thought, Mother Nature has done that. I wanted to cry. I literally wanted to cry because I thought, well, my gosh. And yet all we've ever done is look at that and not really realise what she's given us. It's like, if you want to know about self-worth, and then when people tell you that you're not worthy, yet we've not done that to Mother Nature, yet she's still provided.
Yeah,
there's a massive thing in that.
It's like the veins on the leaves, isn't it? And everything's connected with our veins in our body. And like even when you get stung by a nettle, you get a dock leaf and you spit on it. And I used to always do that when I was a kid, growing up in the countryside. And there's just so much around us without us even noticing, like obviously the forestry, what do you call it? The foraging.
Foraging.
Yeah,
Foraging.
all the plants and everything that are there.
Yeah.
And it is literally, like you're saying, getting connected with each other, but in tune with nature that's going to facilitate our future moving forward. And it does really just fascinate me.
And we need to tell the children.
Yes.
Because the Aboriginals, the children at 3 years old know every single plant on that land, what will kill them and what will heal them and what will feed them at 3. In the schools, they don't do that.
They don't do any of that.
Why would you not do that?
No. They don't even teach you about healing yourself or chakras or meditation.
But that's important. Why would you not teach a child in school, make that your major curriculum? This is when you've got to start asking questions.
Of course.
Here's your question. Think about this as a mother, as a father, as a grandparent, as a being. Why would you not teach the most fundamental thing in life to a child when their vibration is at its highest and its subconscious mind will retain that for the rest of its life to pass on to somebody else and the children? Why would you not even spend an hour in your daily curriculum teaching a child that knowledge?
Yeah.
And if someone can answer me that question that's wrote that curriculum in a way that I can say, okay, then I'll be agreeable with it. I know they can't answer that question.
No. What's been written has been done on purpose to dumb us down and to prevent us from actually forming them belief system or intuition, isn't it? To have that connection with the earth and nature and knowing what is actual natural substances that grow from the ground that are there to heal us and make us healthy. And, it's... And that's what's coming to light now, isn't it? More and more. Yeah. We did talk a little bit about, on the way here, about your views on the jab and what it's doing and the patenting of humans. I don't even like using the word human now after you told me it meant monster.
This is a language. We have to change our language. Yeah. We'll be changing our language. We will have to change that. That's going to be a definite because those languages have got frequencies that are keeping you hooked into that energy. Yeah. And I'm doing that in the retreat. We're looking at changing the language, so. But it's basically, again, research
was showing. It's a big job that is, isn't it?
It's a big job. Because, I say things now, I'll change the words to understand rather than understand, but every now and again I'll come back and say it. But, but it is a big job. Yeah. But, we have to do that, and that's the thing. But the children will do that.
Yes.
But children will do that because the children will help us, which we need to listen to the children. You do need to listen to the children 100%. They're powerful beyond. But, so we were saying, and there was some research that was saying, because obviously what's happening now, and this is no disrespect to anybody who's choosing to have whatever they choose to have, everyone's got the choice and they've come here to make that choice. We've got to make that clear. But what is happening with that is you can't patent a natural person. You can't patent that. And the corporate world is all about patents and ownership. So if you can't patent a natural being, then where's the ownership? So no one can actually own you. Yeah. So what they're doing is with this serum that goes into someone's body to prevent them from getting what they're calling some kind of virus or however they want to address it, what that will do is will change the DNA of the being, of the putting it in. So it's going to change your DNA structure. So if you are physically changing something, which is where patents come in, because you're changing something, in a way. So you can own that. So if you change someone's DNA, you then can own that person. Right. And that's what is this big situation coming up, is to change so that it can be patented. So then once you're in that and you've had your DNA changed with some form of serum, whatever that is that's in that energy, we don't know what's in that. No one knows what's in that. So whatever is in that, but we do know it's a DNA changer. It's changing people's DNA to either combat some kind of manufactured virus or to combat something. But nevertheless, whatever that is to change someone's DNA. Yeah. And that can be patented. You patent that, then you own that person who has had that in their system.
That's scary.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it on that one. But that's fine. If somebody wants to go down that road, I'm happy. To me, I don't really get involved with who does what. It's not my business. I just know I didn't come here to have myself taken from anybody's control. That's not what I've come here to do.
The people that you've got on your retreat, have any of them took the jab? No, surely they
Some of
wouldn't have
them, which to be honest,
thought about
quite
it.
a few of them were thinking they had to, because that's what it's saying. That at the time it was, well, I have to.
Yeah.
And I've not said you don't have to, and I've not said don't do it. I've said, here's the information. What do you think?
You're very good at doing that, like making people answer for themselves, isn't it?
I can't answer anybody's question.
No.
I don't know what people's going. That's not my business.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you've resonated with me for whatever reason because of the curiosity.
Yeah.
Here is an abundance of information. Go and have a look at it and see what you think.
Yeah.
I just give them the information. That's all I give them. But we're not allowed to talk about. I'm saying allowed. Sounds like controlling, but it's not. But we're not going in there to talk about what's going on outside. We're going in there to work on ourselves.
Go within.
Yeah. What's going on within you. And here's the information. We observe it, of course, because we've got to have some kind of foundation, some kind of focal point to know what we're moving away from. But it's a snippet. It's a 1% of this is what's happening, and 99% of how you're going to do, what you're going to do with it. What are you going to do with it? You, yourself. Oh, I don't know, Martine. Yes, you do. How are you going to do it? And we go, and I can't even begin to tell you, especially on my last night's workshop, it was just the biggest mind blow ever of one lady in particular. But we always say we're going in the retreat stays in the retreat, so I never mention her name, but she has gone and she's switched timelines.
Wow.
She switched timelines from where she was, and and the way she was describing what had happened to her and the things that she was now seeing in her life that she'd never seen ever. And she's now, I think, I can't remember how old she is. She's getting on 50, maybe 40, late 40s, 50, whatever. The transformation that she's gone, but she's had some tests and I had to observe it as an energy. So I'll observe it. She was dead excited that something had happened that she'd always wanted. And I saw the pattern and I just said, don't do it. Even though it was an amazing thing, I had to say, don't do it, because it was the vibration that wanted to take her back to where she'd come from.
Right, that's it, isn't it? The lessons in life.
And
that's
she
part
went,
of the blueprint.
Now I know I threw myself under the bus, because she wasn't going to say it, but
right.
she ended up saying it, and I spotted it straight away. So we'll give guidance like that.
Yeah.
But I won't say don't do it. I'll just say, well, that's a pattern. What are you going to do with that one? And she answered her own question.
So interesting. So for your retreat, how can people find you? Where can they find you? How can
find me on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to sort it out on my website. I've not done that yet because I've been so busy with other stuff. But on Instagram, and just direct message me, because it's not social media. So you're not going to find it on social media. And there's a reason why you won't find it on social media. But it is a secure space, and it is a space where people can just be themselves in there and no judgment. But it's definitely just message me on a private message or email me. I mean, if you go on my Instagram page, which is Liberty Blueprint, that's where you'll find on my the links, and also just DM me. That's what most people are doing, and I just send you the information on how to do that and how to get in touch and come in. So, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I could talk to you for days, you know that anyways. There's so much more we could cover. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm sure we can get you on again and see when the Mother Earth goes into her next phase or whatever happens. It's exciting. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, Martine.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are watching from YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe, press the like button and the notifications, and it'll also be on Spotify and Apple too.